All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Hicksey Nana Podcast, episode number 38. Another edition of the Corona Chronicles. We're here with Joe Kometz, as we have for all the Corona Chronicles, and of course, Mr. Dave. Boys, how are we doing right now? How are we holding in?
Dave, you want to go first?
I'm starting to break now. Just I'm just sick of seeing the same fall walls all the time. I need to get out of the house. I need to. I can't. I love my parents to death, but if I have to see their face one more time, I'm gonna lose it. So I've reached my breaking point. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, Dave, I'm in the same boat. I was talking, I said in the group chat, I think, yesterday or like last week into this week, it's like the first time, a couple of days where quarantine's starting to get to me. I'm starting to be like, okay, what the hell? Like I gotta, do something else. But, I mean, I'm bored, but I'm not like going crazy because, I work out, play football all day. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but
Looking very big there with your cutoff, Joe. I have to say that.
yeah,
Massive.
I showered. I took an early shower, and I don't want to waste another shirt to do
I don't
nothing.
blame you, Joe. It's a good look. But
Thanks, buddy.
moving on. Now, how about you? How have you been dealing with this so far?
Well, work's starting to slow down a little bit. I was probably told you guys the last couple times how busy work's been. It's kind of slowing down a little bit. I think a lot of that actually has to do with really the lack of stock we've been getting. Because a lot of these,
Yeah.
because you guys got to think about it, a lot of our distribution places are starting to shut down. So places that distribute Lysol, they're not getting it to our distributor, who in turn, of course, can't get it to us. And I mean, it's pretty bad as far as the amount of products that are, being taken. Basically, we've been just told by our distribution company that we don't have this stuff and we're not gonna have it for some time. So flip the tag around. So people talk about food shortage or whatever. That's ridiculous. Like that'll never happen. I don't think it's gonna get to the point where the shelves are completely barren, but there's gonna be some products
Oh,
that will not be on the shelf, and Lysol is certainly gonna be one of those products.
I could attest to that because at BJ's too, the freezer and fridge section, like typically it's overfilled, so there's no room to put anything in now, and now the whole thing is empty. I actually went around the other day in the fridge because we're taking stuff down just to put it away because I guess it was old and no one would like the older stuff that no one was kind of buying. That was like the obscure products or whatever. And I was looking around. I was walking around the store for the around the freezer section and even the store in general. And a lot of shelves were completely empty, and it was just really baffling because literally like a couple of months ago, everything was full, everything was going, booming, but now just nothing there anymore. So it's really strange looking at it.
Yeah, because Matt, like you said, the distribution centers and stuff are closed, and the processing plants are closing because this virus started along both coasts, and it slowly started to work its way in. So now you're starting to see the Midwestern states they're a little bit behind us. Like, oh, okay, we're getting the cases. You know what I mean? So they're shutting down in their response. Now you're
Yeah.
seeing there's like my dad goes every Tuesday, Thursday just shopping just to stay stocked up. He's even noticing there's meat shortages. Not
Oh yeah.
crazy, oh my God, but my dad's like, yeah, you can only get one thing of meat now at some places, only one roll, only one thing of toilet paper, because it's not oh my gosh, we're running out of these things. It's just the processing plants and distribution centers are starting to close. So therefore, you're going to have a little bit of a shortage for a little bit of time.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
once those things reopen, obviously they'll be back, but it is
Oh
going
yeah,
to take some time for, obviously things to peak, like you said, in the Midwest, and eventually they'll move on and they'll get back to work and we'll be okay again. But for the meantime, it's yeah, we're just gonna have to live with what you got. You say that places like BJ's Stop and Shop, they're out of meats and stuff.
Yeah.
I say my boss was pretty smart, man. He predicted this coming, bought a huge 40-foot freezer, bought as much meat as he possibly could, shoved it in there, and to be honest with you, our store's been really, really good as far as having at least something. It's not everything that you could possibly want, but typically, pork products, I kind of expected those to be out by now, but every single day I look over there, we still got pork chops, we still got ribs, stuff like that. So
It's good to know. I'll send a tip over to the big man.
All right. Don't let too many people know. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no.
Well, Joe, speaking about the virus, do you have any updates on what's going on with this thing now? Is it looking bad, good, worse? What's the deal?
Now, Dave, this is basically turning into what the government's going to do about it
All
because
right.
there's starting to be studies coming out. And really, if you look at the numbers, coronavirus isn't that bad. I originally said, back when this first started, like right before there were still sports in March Madness, I was like, I don't think coronavirus is a big deal. And, for a while, people, that were saying that kind of got hate shamed and, like pushed off of, like the internet and stuff, like, bigger people, not like me. But you're starting to see now, like the state of Arizona did a huge widespread study about like the antibodies, and they tested like 200,000 people, or like more than, I don't know how many people. Like, I should have looked at this before I started talking about this, but they did a huge study, and basically only like 2% of people actually have coronavirus, or like actually like have like symptoms from it. The coronavirus is actually a very common thing. Like a lot of more people have it than we think, but the survival rate in the U.S. is like 99.64%, like that actually get coronavirus. And people now, it's just turning into like with the media, like fear porn. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, like that's what it's turning into. They're just trying to scare, and keep people like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But in reality, the more you look at the numbers and you look once again at the deaths, there was a thing on Instagram. It showed the deaths from the flu, from like flu season, and the deaths of coronavirus as far. And in most states, obviously, like New York, I think was the only one where it was like a big difference because coronavirus is new. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
most states, coronavirus actually killed less people than the flu has. Like, throughout the whole flu season, like, they didn't see like 3-month numbers of coronavirus. And, obviously New York, coronavirus was way higher because of just basically New York City, because people were so packed in and, there's no like vaccine for this yet. But that's another thing too with this whole, originally, remember how it was flat in the curve? Now, people are trying to turn it into find the vaccine.
And see, Joe, I was just talking to Dave about that earlier, and that's really what's starting to get me mad. Is when did we get to the point where because it started off, all right, we just have to flatten the curve, we have to limit hospitalizations, and I thought for the most part we did a good job of that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we did.
I think we did an excellent job, but they had places like Southern Connecticut that were going to open up, and they were going to have like hospital beds. We didn't even have to do that because we had done such a good job of, like you said, social distancing. Everyone kind of followed along. But now we're getting to the point where it's May and we've been isolated since February? How many?
Yeah, something like, I know like March was when they actually like March was when like they actually did like social distancing, but we started getting regulations like travel bans and stuff in February, I think.
Right. So all right, so let's say it's March. So now it's been March, April, May. So it's been 3 months. Do you really expect us to do this for another 3 months, or even on that another 6 months, or even upwards of a year? I think it's absolutely ridiculous. We listened to you for up to this point. You said you promised us that it's just about flattening the curve. Now you got the freaking idiot governor of Los Angeles who is like, we are not going to reopen the city until we have a vaccine. Well, I'm sorry, sir, but you're not going to have yourself a vaccine until at least another 5 years. I mean, they were able to. I know that they keep saying, oh, we can have one by September, we can have one by October. If they come out with a vaccine by September or October, there is absolutely no way it would have followed.
It's going to be effective.
Because those vaccines to start off with, they're about 55% efficiency rate.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that you're going to rush something out in September, is that actually going to help?
Yeah, exactly.
It helps a little bit, but not as like it completely cures coronavirus. Right?
Yeah.
So I think go ahead, Joe.
No, you finish your thought. I just got something.
Just to finish my thought. I mean, at some point there has to be a line, right? We flatten the curve, right? Hospitalizations are down. We didn't have that whole freak out where we didn't have enough beds. It's time to get people back to work. It's time to get to reopen the economy. I think it's getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah, because if you look back, to the beginning of this, like in late March when the quarantine first started, the news was predicting by now we'd have like 1 million deaths. I don't even think, like, in all honesty, like the total deaths have even topped like 100,000. I could be wrong, but
We've only had like 1 million cases. I think we've had 1 million cases, but not nowhere close to 1 million deaths.
Obviously, the testing, which still baffles me that we're a first world society, you know what I mean? And we're like this big advanced society and we don't have mass testing yet. That still baffles me. But, that's a whole nother thing. But, like you said, California, the entire state of California wants to close at least till January 1st, 2021. That's insane. There's already like 50 universities in, California that have already said for the fall semester, no in-person classes. How on earth can you say this? And, I at one point we're going to talk about the sports, with this, and I'll revisit that. But the way this has been going, we have totally flattened the curve. The curve is going down everywhere. Even like in the Midwest, like where they're, a couple weeks behind, it's like flat. Like this is not a problem. It's a problem, but it's, obviously, once again.
I get what you're saying. It's a problem, but it's not like as big as everyone else is making it out to be.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, I feel like you almost have to say this or else you'll get crucified. But we obviously are not saying people should die.
No.
Obviously. But you're not going to come out with a vaccine at the earliest until the end of the year. Probably much longer than that. But it's not really going to be an effective vaccine for a couple of years because let's say they roll out a vaccine and Matt, like you said, say it's only 50% effective. All right, well then, that's cool. But you're going to have to keep getting it every year. And this could be like a multi-stage vaccine. Then it could, I think they should be focusing more on how to treat coronavirus.
Exactly.
Because that's when you can now, go back to normal and then eventually find a vaccine so you don't have to do that anymore.
Doesn't it take a very long time to produce like an effective vaccine? So like trying to produce a vaccine.
Takes years of human testing. Like they got Ebola done in 5 years. That was a record time. For a vaccine.
So let's say fine. What if you rush it out? This vaccine out. You rush it out. The efficiency rate is very low. What if I don't know science, but what if the virus just becomes immune to it? So then we go back to square one again. So then it's so honestly, like you guys are right though. We should honestly, I'm advocating to. Again, we're not advocating for people to die, but we're advocating for people to get back to work and the economy to get running again. Or we could have ourselves another Great Depression. We can't afford that. Exactly.
I mean, this is getting to a point. You know what I mean? Like we're staring down the barrel of another Great Depression. Like Connecticut. So first of all, the state was supposed to reopen April 1st, which I agree was a little bit too early because the numbers are still crazy. Then they moved it to April 20th. It was starting to get better, but I could have advocated May 1st. Then they made it May 20th. It's what? It's the 13th. So a week from today was supposed to be when the state reopened. But they pushed it back. Like some places can start to reopen. But the governor still wants 5 people, in social distancing till June 20th now.
No.
Like, dude, that's like you're getting to a point here. Like restaurants could open but only outdoor seating. So basically, let's say it rains half the time from now to June 20th. You're still going to lose, you're still going to be losing a lot of money.
Exactly.
But this has just turned to a point eventually because there's going to be another big spike in the winter when we all go, back inside. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be another spike of this and it's going to get to a point where most likely everyone is going to get this. I think I already had it personally back because when you look, coronavirus has actually been around for a couple of years, but no one really knew about it until it got widespread in China. But it's been around for a couple of years, and people have died from it over the past couple of years, but it got misdiagnosed as the flu. And, like, my whole dorm up at school, like, I lived in a suite of 7 people, for people who don't know. And all 7 of us, there was, like, a week back in, like, late January, early February, where we were all sick as, like, you could be. And we were, like, had fevers, like, chills and stuff. And it was, like, symptoms of coronavirus, but people got misdiagnosed either as the flu or they didn't have the flu, but they were clearly suffering, and the doctor even said it, from a virus. So I'm thinking we all already had coronavirus, but that's a whole other thing. But eventually everyone's going to get this. And it's pointless to keep us cooped up and not, eventually society needs to happen. You know what I mean? Like, or there's going to be riots. Like, state of Connecticut already closed public pools for the whole summer. Imagine like if you guys didn't have anywhere to go for a pool, and like you lived, like in Waterbury, where there's one big public pool that people always go to. Now you can't go to the pool, and let's say your family isn't wealthy enough to afford to go to like the beach all the time. You can't go to the pool. What are you going to do? Like, this is screwing. Like, this is not good. Like, but it's funny, you see, in the more liberal states, the more democratic states, they're closing more and more. They're seeing, like the southern states that are more Republican, like Florida's almost totally reopened. Georgia, Arizona, which once again, we'll talk about that more when we talk about sports. But this going to get to a point, it's just turning into fear porn.
Exactly.
And now, Dave, to answer your original question with what's going on with coronavirus, I really don't know. But now everything going forward is going to all be up to how the state governments choose to go forward. Because Trump literally said May 20th, everything's open. So,
actually, the man and I were talking about this before. We're talking about how this is how it should be. People who want to work should work, but again, we should also accommodate, like you were saying before, we should accommodate for people who can't, who are at higher risk of getting the disease or whatever. We should accommodate for those people, but people should still be allowed to work, and people who don't want to work, whatever, they could stay home and do whatever. I mean, because honestly, bills, sure, we're in a virus, we're in an epidemic or whatever, but we're still getting bills, and bills need to be paid, and you can't pay your bills if you don't work. So, like you're saying, you guys, things need to be open, or else it's gonna be a riot.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's part of the problem too. Is we're almost incentivizing people not to go to work. We're telling people don't go to work, and they're making more money now than they would if they had gone to work in the first place. And I feel like, given the option of the two, people would like, yeah, fuck, I'll stay inside and play video games all day, as opposed to going to work. So if you keep telling people that, then I mean, I get it, unforeseen circumstances, but at some point, how much money do we have? Is this money even where are we getting all this money from?
Yeah, exactly. At some point, the reserves or whatever, the money set aside for people who workers' compensation, people who can't work at all, it's gonna all go away. And then what now? We're back to square one. So we have to work. Work needs to be done. And
I understand. We've said it 100 times already, but we don't want people to get sick. People should be accommodated for if they are at high risk, and if you don't want to go out, then don't go out. But people need to go to school. People need to go to work. This is people's livelihoods on the line, and we just can't. I just feel like it's just such an easy ploy. When you're in a democracy like this, the government needs to have some form of control, and I think a perfect way to control your people is to freak them out with something as silly as a stupid germ like coronavirus. Where I get it, it's dangerous. People are dying from it, but I just feel like they're taking it to a whole nother level that's
extreme,
completely unnecessary. Yeah.
If this video gets flagged by YouTube, you know why. The government shut it down.
They're watching us.
That's conspiracy theory.
Right. We're gonna keep an eye on that for
Stay woke.
Podcasts. Yeah, stay woke, guys. All right. I'm kind of done talking about coronavirus. Let's move on to sports, which unfortunately there are no sports going on because of coronavirus. So, but some good news. The whole California thing shutting down might mess this up a little bit, but Major League Baseball, they came out with a proposal. All the owners approved of this proposal. Basically, shorten the season down. A lot of the games to start the year are going to be very local, like Boston. Let's just say it's the Red Sox, for example. They're just going to be playing a lot of division games against the Mets, the Yankees, the really, really local teams. Not, no long trips out to the West Coast or the Midwest. Kind of keeping it really local to start. Expanding the playoffs a little bit. That way, that kind of accommodates for a team that kind of had a chance, but could have made it, but there were less games. So they kind of expand the playoffs. Makes a lot of sense to me. The question, though, as far as their plan is concerned, is what happens when this peaks, let's say in the Midwest, and then, Milwaukee can't play against Chicago, right? What do they do then? Do they go to a neutral site? Do they go east? Do you bring the players there? what if a player gets sick? And then do you shut it all down and start from square one? There's obviously a lot of questions still on the line, but there seems to be at least some progress.
Yeah, I saw Matt, with this proposal, they want to start spring training in June and have the season start July 4th weekend, which how, baseball kick-ass would it be? They still claim they're America's pastime. The birthday of America, July 4th, they start their season. And that'd probably be the first major sports league as of right now to come out if the players approve it, which I think they will, but who the hell knows?
I read that this 2-week window is going to be very vital as it pertains to the season, because they've obviously worked very hard to get this proposal out. If it gets shut down, there's going to have to be some very quick negotiations between the players' union and the Major League Baseball, or we could be without maybe baseball for an entire season, which would just be, extremely unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just what I mean? Like, we need sports, but I saw Matt, another thing. You were saying, what happens if someone gets sick? I was seeing for travel rosters, like let's say, use Milwaukee and Chicago for example. Milwaukee's on the road, and someone on that team gets coronavirus. You know what I mean? Like Christian Yelich, like he gets coronavirus. But they would be able, for the road, they can bring up to 50 players for if someone gets sick. They isolate that person, but then they'd have more people to fill in, and for injuries and stuff too. But that, I think, is their solution for people getting sick, because I don't think they can – because another thing, people aren't really talking about, but I saw an article on ESPN. The MLB is suffering financially the most out of the major sports leagues right now. Because at least with the NBA and the NHL, they already had a decent amount of their season. The MLB, with all of their farm league teams, like I know I talked about this, I think, in a previous episode, because of all their minor league teams they have to pay, and all the managers and the training staff and stuff, they have, clubs have to spend a ton of more money. Like Mike Trout, he's getting $400 million, or was that Bryce Harper, $400 million? I think it was Mike Trout.
He's making a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, they're making this absurd amount of money, and players are already tweeting out, and I'm seeing on ESPN, players are pissed because their pay is getting cut almost in half, because the MLB is realizing, oh man, without baseball, because if the MLB cancels their entire season, they have no financial help in sport until 2021 now. At least the NBA and the NHL has played a bulk of their regular season, so even though they're still going to be losing a lot of money from not having the playoffs, it still helps that they had a decent amount of their season and gained some revenue. But the MLB's hurting really bad, so they got to have a season one way or another.
Yeah, I think they have to make it work in some way, like you said, the financial burden that's been put on them. And for our sanity at this point, we're all saying we're all getting a little fed up. Listen, I love the Michael Jordan documentaries every Sunday.
Yeah.
But it's only once a week, right? I mean, I get like football would be on, but it was an entire day of football. This is only like 2 hours of Michael Jordan, and you know what happens? He wins and then he goes away.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
so he just kicks ass.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a quick thing though. I mean, since we're gonna have these rules of like, you can't have this many people at the stadiums and all that stuff, you think that's also gonna have an impact on the revenue, the the baseball. I forgot the name. MLB is gonna. You think you're gonna suffer from this? Sorry, I forgot. I had a brain fart.
Oh yeah, but they're not gonna suffer as bad because they're still gonna be starting to make TV revenue.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I think they could. They can almost make up for what they lose in like game revenue to like the amount of people they're gonna watch, because a ton of people are gonna be watching baseball.
Okay.
Sport on.
Yeah.
All right.
Even like the Korean baseball got like almost 1 million viewers. And those games were live at 3 a.m. on the East Coast. Like that's a thing. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, people need something to watch. The NFL draft set the record for most people watching the draft. Like they got 30 million views. Like if for opening day of MLB baseball, if they do it right too, they should do Yankees Red Sox. It's arguably the biggest rivalry in baseball, which I think it is, but some people
will dispute
it.
You get like St. Louis versus Chicago,
and then you have out west. You could do San Francisco versus LA.
Yeah.
Boom! That's a big way to say we're back. And then a ton of people, and you do like all rivals. The Mets play the Phillies for an opening series. Then you have, Houston play. Fuck, what's the other team in Texas? The Houston Texans and the Rangers. I'm just saying, like, you have like Florida teams play each other. You have like you have the local divisional rivals all play each other, and then that'll help with the TV revenue a ton. Because I'll tell you this, even though I don't watch baseball that much, obviously in the summer I do because it's the only sport on. I'll sit and watch the Mets get killed every night because it's sports again. Just like, I hope the NBA comes back and the NHL comes back, but we got to see what's going on.
Well, I'm actually, guys were just talking about how everything's getting postponed and pushed back, and all these days are getting pushed back. I'm also concerned about the NFL because, like, let's say, Governor Schmo is like, all right, we're going to shut everything down. You guys can have any games here. Then what now? The NFL just doesn't have a season, and then they get hit, and then that's just really worrying for me. They're probably going to be safe, but like we have that like small percent chance of that happening. So,
well, the governor of Florida already has been in contact with a lot of NCAA like conference commissioners, because for example, like I was saying before, California universities, 3 Division I programs in the Mountain West: Fresno State, San Diego State, and San Jose State are all D1, programs. And for the fall semester, football. And their school's presidents already said we are not having classes, in person in the fall semester. So the governor of Florida has been in contact with them, and all the conference commissioners have said, if your state bans, football and your schools ban classes, we will find a place for you in the state of Florida to play football. So hopefully he can deliver on that, and that'd be awesome.
This Floridian guy sounds like a beast.
Yeah, college football I think is very much down, especially now that California has already shut down classes. Because I think obviously if you're not having class, why would you have sports as well? I feel like you'd be kind of pointless and kind of against what you want. But the NFL, to their credit, man, ever since this thing started, Goodell has been very, the commissioner Goodell, if you don't know who that is. He's been very, league schedule starts on time, free agency starts on time, the draft's going to be the same day, we'll make it work. I feel like, if it's only, because there'll probably be a couple other states that shut down. I feel like if you do have, like, the Rams and the Chargers and who else is in California? It's the freaking 49ers. If they can't play, you move them elsewhere. I feel like he could find them a way to make it work, and that's what he's been doing this entire time, and right now, like he said, everything is staying on schedule, as is obviously, I think the rookie camp and mini camp is completely shut down. He announced that early, but he expects players to report by July. So we'll see where we are by then. Hopefully by July we don't have that peak or whatever that everyone's worried about, having that resurgence. Hopefully it'll be kind of
flattened out,
staying in the dirt. Maybe it kind of goes away with the summer heat. Some people are predicting that as well. That could happen.
Hopefully.
Just hoping for the best. Hoping the best for sports.
Or if all else fails, you should just get an island and just have football in there.
Yeah, just Biodome.
Biodome.
That's what what's his face? UCF or UFC? What's the
Dana
guy?
White.
Thank you, Dave. Dana White. He wanted to buy an island. Well, think about it. We said no sports. UFC had a big fight card over the weekend. They had 2 championship bouts. But I saw boxing wants to come back June 9th, I believe, or like the 6th or the 7th, like that first full weekend in June. They want to have fights. And NASCAR's coming back, I think, in May. I think next weekend or maybe even this weekend. They're doing a race. Golf's coming back in June. Even if there's no fans, it's going to get to a point. People need something to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like you were saying, this is like the rebellion phase. Like, you can't stop the machine. You could only stop the machine for so long. People need to do what they got to do, so they're going to find a way to do it anyway. So,
all right, guys. So the other week we did a pretty good hypothetical on, I think it was like you're fighting this army of bears, lions, and whatever, and we all picked the rats. So I really like
rats
that.
And Chris Kyle.
Yes, rats and Chris Kyle.
Yeah, Chris Kyle. Yep. So found a couple other hypotheticals. I was on Reddit today, and I think, just to end the podcast, do a couple of those. So, all right, here's the first one. You meet Bill Gates, and he gives you $50 million in cash, then goes away and denies it happens. How do you legally prove this money is yours? Dave. putting you on the spot.
Actually, let Joe go first.
No, Dave, I want you to go first. I want you to think about this.
All right.
No, you're not good at this, but I want you to do it.
I'm really not, especially with like legalities and stuff like that. Well, I mean, okay, so if it's a random occurrence, you can't. There's no like pre-planning for this. Just randomly.
Yeah, literally,
happen.
Bill Gates just comes to your house, drops off $15 million, denies it the rest of your life. How do you prove it's yours?
Well, I mean, I'll just say, okay. Another question too. I'm doing the logical side of things, but is Bill Gates personally giving you the money? Like, is he personally delivering the money to you, or okay?
He's literally coming to your house and giving you $50 million.
Then I'll just say, hey, listen, this was Bill Gates touched this. If you guys don't, believe me, do a DNA test on this, find his fingerprints, and yeah, boom.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the best I got. Because if I had time to prepare, I'd get like a camera or like a video thing, go in here, like a secret thing, just recording the whole situation. He puts the money down or whatever, and I'm like, all right, thanks you. And if he denies it, I'll be like, well, guys, you should have the video here. I didn't edit this. Here you go. It's the raw footage. Do what you gotta do with it, and then boom. So.
Dave, that was actually a pretty good answer.
Yeah, that is pretty
I thought
good.
for you personally, Dave, you could just be like, oh, I just had like this. I had this thing in Africa where like I don't know, invested into this really small business and it just really blew up.
I could do that too. I could just be like, well, I invested the money somehow. I got the money somehow, and then next thing you know,
Yeah, like Ghana's economy right now, we got like
booming.
It's just booming right now. Like while the United States economy is plummeting, Ghana for whatever reason it's just
It'd make me the president there. That'd be sick.
And that'd be sick. Yeah, that's where I got it from. And then they're like, Ghana. Oh, Joe, you got anything?
Well, if this is like a random thing, like first of all, I feel like if Bill Gates was at my door, I would have taken a picture on my phone. But let's say all that doesn't happen, he just drops off the money. Now here's the first question. He's saying he didn't give me the money. Do I still get to keep the $50 million?
Yes, you're keeping the $50 million, but you have to legally find a way.
Okay.
To because you're gonna just have $50 million, and the IRS is gonna be like, oh, how's this guy get all this money?
Yeah. Yep.
One thing I would try to do is get access to Bill Gates' bank records and see, hey, did this dude take out $50 million?
Well, it's in cash. It's in cash.
That's the thing, though. He could have still taken it out and turned it in. You
still got to take it out.
The dude's worth a fucking fuck ton. But I would try some way to go into his bank records, even because he probably has multiple accounts. This dude, doesn't have all his money in one big thing. Smart. You know what I mean? And try to look like, oh, this dude took out all these small deposits and stuff over, this time, and then be like, that's how he gave him the money. But Dave, I think said it best. With the DNA, that was a good one.
If he's physically giving me the money, then I could just prove. Hey, he probably has to tamper with the money and put it together because he's doing this thing secretly too, so he doesn't want anyone else knowing about it. So he personally, of course, he's hiring someone else. If he said he was hiring someone else to deliver the money to me and handle the money, then I will have to go with what Joe is saying. But if he's just personally delivering the money, then I have to go with the DNA test because you can't go wrong with that. So, yeah.
What about you, Matt?
Oh, freaking no! You guys had two really, really good answers. I don't know if I can beat that. I don't know. I have to maybe find a way, because I'm thinking what drug dealers would do, and they typically would just I know the Sopranos. They just said it was from their waste management company. That's where they get all their money from. So maybe I invest into a business, LeBon's potentially. Let's just say LeBon's right now because of this coronavirus. I've actually invested into it and I've gotten they'd probably be like, $50 million, yeah, right. But then I'm just like, oh yeah, but I also invested in these other supermarkets as well. So I think if I could kind of come up with a fake portfolio where I kind of look back at the stocks and it's like, yeah, I put some money into this and I'm making money there and, making, a little side gig over here. I don't know.
So you're basically saying that you want to just scatter the money as much as you not physically scatter, but scatter the
try
money
to scatter as much as you can.
Yeah.
And just be like, I hit on all these things and my dad's rich too. He hit on a couple things as well.
Just involve the whole family and then just say
really give the IRS a tough time, just enough time to the point where I can like take that $50 million and just go to like some deserted island before they catch me. And
just started betting on Korean baseball. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, the Dinos. They were undefeated last I checked. They're probably not anymore, but
big Dinos guy.
Yeah, I think everyone's a Dino guy. Everyone I've talked to.
Yeah.
I don't even know who they are, but I'm a Dino guy too.
All right.
Yes,
yeah. I mean, everyone is. All right. Here we go. This one's not as much as like a hypothetical as more as it's just like I guess a philosophical question. Mm-hmm. So if a 20-year-old breaks a bottle of here we go. If a 20-year-old breaks a bottle of liquor in a store that has a you break it, you buy it policy, would it be legal to make the 20-year-old buy the liquor? Dave, I want you to go first. You did good last time. I want you to go again.
Oh my God, why do you put me on the spot here?
Because I like it.
All right. So it's 20-year-old. All right. Well, trying to think.
So he's 20 years old. He's in a liquor store. Let's presume. I don't know. Let's presume he's in there with someone who is of age, right? But he knocks it down. Does he now have to buy it?
When you just give them, when you just tell, hey, ask the because what's the legality? Like, do you get some kind of penalty if you don't pay for it?
It's got a policy. The store policy
Dave,
is you break it, you buy it.
It's not Dave. It's the fact that he's not 21 and he's buying. He would technically then be buying alcohol.
Yeah, he broke the property, so I mean he has to pay for it. He doesn't get to take it because obviously you're gonna find out he's not 20.
But he can't buy alcohol though. That's the problem.
Well, can't they just? I don't know. Contact his. This is gonna sound stupid, but can't they just contact his parents and be like, all right, your son, first of all, he wasn't supposed to buy alcohol and he was buying alcohol. And now he broke it, and the policy is blah, 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 blah. So why don't you just lob the money over?
Well, Dave, the whole thing is he wasn't buying it. Like, let's say he was just walking down the aisle, and he was, like, on his phone, and he bumped into a bottle, and he broke the bottle. You know what I mean? Because, like, the way Matt's saying, this kid wasn't even trying to buy a bottle.
Because it's not illegal for me, I'm 21 now, but let's say Joe.
For me, I'm still, you guys are both
It's not illegal for Joe to go into a liquor store. It's just illegal for him to buy anything in the liquor store, right? Yeah. But if he breaks it, if he's in there, if he's just in there just walking around, I don't know why Joe would be in there just walking around. And then he just breaks something, and then they have that policy. Is it okay for him to buy it? Is it? What's the question? Would it be legal for him to buy it?
It wouldn't be legal, but you have to replace the broken product somehow, some way. So you might as well buy. You might as well pay the money. If you want to involve, if you want to involve the authorities, then say, this kid is blah 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 blah. His intent. That's the thing that's messing me up too, because his intent wasn't to buy the alcohol. He was just booling and he just broke it. So then you can't really involve.
Well, maybe he did. Maybe he did have an intent to buy the alcohol. Maybe he had it in his hand and he was going to the desk and he dropped it.
Yeah, try to pull a fake out.
Joe, please weigh in on this because I'm actually having a tough time. This is really.
Well, here's my thing. I think at first, like Matt, if you said he was with someone that was of age, I think then that would defer to, like, let's say Matt, you and me were in the store. I broke a bottle. Mm-hmm. I think what would happen is officially you'd pay for it, then I would just give you the money. That's what I think would happen. And then B, let's say it's just me and I break a bottle. I think then it would turn into like just destruction of property. And I would have to pay the money for that property rather than I'm buying alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the problem with you paying me back if I did, in fact, like it's like, okay, yeah, here, is that would be distributing alcohol to minors, even though I didn't have alcohol on me. Right?
Well, shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of stumped here.
I think what we've gotten to the bottom of this, there is no right answer.
Yeah, right? Because I feel
like there is obviously ways around it. like you said, if like I was in there with let's just say you were in there with your dad would obviously just buy it.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's just an interesting question that I saw that kind of grabbed my attention. I don't think there's a right answer. I think you can go ways around.
I'll just find another customer and be like, listen, I'll pay you the money. Just pay this guy back.
No, again, that's illegal. That's even more illegal, Dave. It's probably just be better.
You know what?
Probably, Dave. Probably your idea was probably the best. Just be like, yeah, I'll just call my dad or whatever and just have him pay for it. And then if you have to do chores for the week, you have to do chores for a week.
Life goes on.
Yeah. Oh, that was really tough, man. Good job on that one.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Shout out to
really
everyone. Shout out to all the boys on Reddit who
Reddit.
the Reddit
Oh God.
users there for putting up some pretty good philosophical questions, or not hypothetical questions.
Yeah.
My bad. Getting late in the podcast here, so I'm starting to lose it. What do you want to do now, Dave? Do you want to do that, or you want to just go to things we like, things we hate?
What was that?
Oh
no. I think we could do that for another day because
we're already getting pretty late.
Yeah.
So let's do things we like, things we hate. Who's up
Yeah.
first?
Last time was me, so it's not me this time. It's someone else.
Matt, you want to go or I'll go? I don't mind going.
Fuck it, I'll go. Things I like. What I'm liking is this freaking weather. This weather's getting a little bit better. We did have that interesting day with the whole snow situation.
That was so stupid.
But you know what? I'm
Yeah.
seeing the leaves outside. It's incentivizing me to go outside. I mean, I've been shooting the basketball on the side of my house so much now, just because I don't know. The sun's out, the leaves are out. I don't know.
Yeah,
gotta get out.
I was driving on the highway today, and I was looking on the side, just going up the whatever, and I was looking on the side. I was like, oh my God, like I'm seeing all the leaves and everything, because before it was just barren and looked like a ghost, whatever. But now I'm seeing leaves and everything. Now I'm like, wow, this is cool. So.
Can I do another one? Thing I like.
Yeah, go ahead. As many as you want.
Another thing I like. No more online classes. Just basic. I have another exam on Friday, but it's one of those exams that I just cheat on. It's so easy to cheat on. So yeah, basically it's done. Finally, that stupid burden of, I work all day, then I have to come home and I have to do even more work and show up for stupid Zoom classes that, I mean, obviously no one's paying attention. They're completely meaningless. Those are finally done. Another thing I like.
Yeah, it's facts.
Yeah. Matt, for a thing I like, I was going to do the same thing. I'm done with class. I finished last Thursday. So, that's a big thing I like. I didn't like, though, that all of my finals had to be with a webcam, so I couldn't cheat. So basically, if I was able to cheat, I probably would have had another letter grade up, and my grades would have been really even better. But it's whatever. Thing I dislike: I ordered 2 posters online for my dorm, for my house that I'm gonna be living in, and I didn't check the measurements. Right, so when I got a poster, I'm thinking, it's gonna be a big poster like you see. So I got a poster of Mike Tyson wearing the heavyweight belt. The poster is this big. This is not a big poster. Like, it's a cool poster, you know what I mean? But it's like small.
Yeah.
It looks like, like a little bit bigger than a picture. Then I buy this, for those who watch The Office, a threat level midnight poster. This one's bigger, but it's still certainly not as big as, you would hope. It's all curled up and stuff, but it's got, Michael Scott, it's got Jim and all that. But I buy 2 posters online, and they were like $15 each. But I'm expecting to get these giant posters.
Yeah, like kind of like the flags behind you, about that size.
Yeah, exactly. And then I look. The Mike Tyson one's hilarious. It's like a little bit bigger than a piece of paper. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I was expecting, or like a big poster size like this. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool. So you're gonna have to reorder a new one again now, or you're gonna have to get like the custom dimensions?
Because of coronavirus, these already took like almost a month to get here.
Oh.
Like, I ordered 2 jerseys on a DH Gate. I ordered a Michael Jordan Wizards jersey because I don't want to get a Bulls because I'm a LeBron guy. So I got a Wizards jersey of Michael Jordan because that's cool. And I got a Sonics jersey, like the old-fashioned, like the Gary Payton ones that you saw.
Gary Payton ones, those are pretty good.
Yeah, I got this before this weekend. Like, I ordered these like a while ago. But I looked, and they're coming in from China. The one of the jerseys is supposed to ship. I ordered this in like beginning of April. I'm expected to get it in like June 17th. The other one I might not get till July 28th. And normally they take about a month to get in.
Yeah.
But like
Actually, even less than that.
And I told these from like the exchange, they're like all like made in China, like
okay.
Like they're slightly like like there's like an error with them, so they sell them for really cheap. But I'm pissed. I'm like, damn it! Like I'm gonna be waiting until basically the entire summer to get these. But
yeah, I don't know. Wait, so Matthew, what don't you hate or like rather, or do you hate? You didn't do that.
Did not do that. I kind of like that Joe took me because that gave me a little bit of time to think. But
I thought you did do a thing you didn't like. Oh, because you did 2 likes. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, I did 2 likes because I was kind of just I don't know. Just kind of. It was a good piggyback though. Things I hate. Dave, how would you do things you like? All right, I'll come up with something.
All right. Things I like. So guys, remember this fan I got? This really sick neck fan I got that glows in the dark and everything. I've been using that. Awesome. Recently, I'd go outside sometimes. I would just like sit outside and just get a chair, get some water or whatever I feel like drinking that day. Sit down and just have this fan blowing me. No bugs on my face. It's just sick. And also when it's nighttime, I just let the LEDs glow up. Oh wait, I let them glow like this, and it's pretty sick. Yeah. I can't complain about that. Best investment I've ever made so far.
I might get one, Dave. That's awesome.
Dude, you have to. It's like $15. I got it on eBay, but it's probably like $15 or $16 on Amazon plus shipping and handling, if whatever. So it's probably gonna be like $17, $18, but it's still worth it. And things I hate. Okay, so remember how last time we did the podcast with Jill Hotchkiss? Yeah. So that whole time, like before leading up to the podcast, I was freaking out. Like I was very anxious. I don't know why I was anxious. Like I was eating. It was just like 6 o'clock before the podcast. We started at like 7 or 8 o'clock. I don't remember. But anyways, so I'm out there eating my food and I'm visibly shaking. Like I'm sweating. I'm shaking. I went to take a shower. Like I looked like I had Parkinson's. It was so bad.
And Dave, why do you think out of all the guests, Jill Hotchkiss in particular, you were doing this?
Yeah, Dave. I wonder why.
I'm extremely interested.
Yeah, Dave.
Hey, listen here. Everyone knows basically pretty much. I am not really like I'm socially awkward when it comes to females, so like that's probably that was what it was.
That's a good excuse.
That's it.
This is gonna go great for the people who listen.
It is true.
This is gonna be the awesome.
I think everyone knows this. So I mean, it is what it is.
You know what we could do? Maybe next episode we should have some viewers text you, Matt, or Dave, and we could talk about on the next podcast ways to get Dave more comfortable when talking to ladies. Well, I think that would be a fun Corona podcast.
Yeah, we'd have people.
I'd be in for that.
That's actually a good idea. I'm down for that too. Well, yeah, that was it. I don't know why I was nervous, but like it was bad. Matthew, again, I keep thanking him. I've thanked him like 30 times now. He took the sinking ship, he put it on his back, he swam to the shore, he picked up the ship and put it on the floor, on the docks or whatever.
No applause needed. No applause needed.
Honestly, stand up. I would stand up, but I can't stand up. But respect to man. Honestly, big respect. He saved the day. So,
hey, that's what I'm here for, Dave. I came up with something I hate. Snitches, dude. Tekashi 6ix9ine is back. I heard he came out with that. What do you do, like Instagram Live or something like that? And he broke the record.
It was like 2 million or whatever.
Instagram Live, and then he came out with a song. Like,
how did he come up with a song so quickly?
Because you know what, dude? In all honesty, though, you're sitting there, in jail. He probably had the whole song. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything else.
All I know is the lyrics.
How did he get the music video out so quick?
Honestly, dude, he probably literally shot it. Like, the first thing he did, he was like, all right, we're shooting this. I got to give him credit. You know what I mean? He may be crazy, but he is a markening genius.
He's gonna get killed.
He's a snitch, dude.
He's gonna any second. We're gonna hear local rapper Tekashi whatever died from means to snitch. Like remember the episode of Boondocks? Don't be a snitch. That's what's gonna happen. He's gonna get shut up.
That's right. That was a good episode actually. That was pretty funny. I don't know.
Well, yeah, dude.
Just not a big. I don't really know. His lyrics just don't.
It's literally
they don't really hit
stupid.
Home.
You're dumb. It's like you're stupid dumb. Talking about how many women he has. Stupid dumb. Money, stupid dumb. That's basically it.
I don't know. His songs, personally, just I really don't. I can't connect with them. So
That's much.
He's also a
music from-
snitch too, so I can never.
Yeah.
I can just. I
Can't-
can't support that. All right, boys. I think it's time to wrap up another edition of the Hicksey Nana Podcast. Another good one, another fun one. Thanks, guys. Another good episode. So I want to thank all of you guys for joining the podcast, hanging out with me, Dave, and Joe here. And everyone stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Stay
Bye-bye.
safe.